I was born ready. Canelo Alvarez to face Billy Joe Saunders May 2nd, Cinco de Mayo weekend. A deal has been reached. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing if you want to become part of the gang. Notification gang. Please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up for ESPN Plus. It is fight week. Adesanya defending his title against the always game, athletic, acrobatic Yoel Romero. ESPN Plus pay-per-view UFC 248. Smash the like button. And also click on that link if you're interested in purchasing that. You can also get ESPN Plus by itself or bundle it, ESPN Plus with Disney Plus. 2 great services plus Hulu. That's 3 great services for $12.99. If you click on that link and you're interested, it does help the channel and help the channel continue to build and grow. And I appreciate everybody that's used the link thus far. Now, it looks like a deal has been reached for Canelo Alvarez, Saul Alvarez, to face Billy Joe Saunders May 2nd. And it's looking like that's what's going down. T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas. I want to give you guys some of the facts behind the fight happening. And I want you guys to leave me a comment and drop in the comment section what you think about the fight. Do you like it? The fight for me is, it's cool. It's definitely a fight that I think it's a bit better than Caleb Smith. I'm not talking about action-wise because the Caleb Smith might actually have more action. But when you look at Caleb Smith, the other rumored name, even though that may possibly be a better action fight, he's not really known in the States. Like, he fought against Hassan Indam on a Joshua Ruiz undercard. And I don't think Billy Joe Saunders is all too known, but he was at least linked to probably bigger American people or names that are known in America. Like, people may know him from, when Triple G had all the other belts except for the Billy Joe Saunders belt. So there was some back and forth there. He was supposed to fight against Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, and they did a press conference in America before Saunders failed a drug test. So it's, they both have actually failed drug tests, close to each other. Canelo with the clenbuterol, and then Billy Joe Saunders, and he claims nasal spray. Canelo claims tainted steak from Mexico. But it is what it is. For me, I think the timing's bad on the fight. Again, I still don't think Billy Joe Saunders is a huge name, but it would have been probably a bigger name than Caleb Smith, definitely Ryota Murata. And the timing, the reason I say it's bad is because Billy Joe Saunders, his American debut, and he last competed in his last fight, he fought a very unknown guy, Marcelo Esteban Corceres, and he didn't look too hot. He didn't look too great in the fight. He was struggling. It's easily could be stated that he was losing the fight. And that was going into the 11th round. The 11th round, he made some magic happen and created 3 knockdowns and forced a stoppage. So he was able to, come from behind or, come out of the hole that he was in. And to me, that's not a good look, just because it would be one thing if you were fighting Andrade or something like that, and this was the occasion. The other thing, aside from Billy Joe Saunders' last performance, and it's funny because I called this once again, Ego Veli, Ego Stradamus. Billy Joe Saunders, after that performance that I'm mentioning to you, this can't even be refuted or disputed. After that performance, Billy Joe Saunders, you can Google it up, you can YouTube it, there's interviews that are posted. Billy Joe Saunders says, I was flat tonight. It wasn't my greatest work, my greatest performance. And he says, off of that performance, I do not deserve Canelo, a fight with Canelo, because people were rumoring that Canelo could be looking into him, even at that time. So he says, off of that performance, I don't deserve Canelo Alvarez or the likes of Danny Jacobs. I didn't look my best. And this is why Canelo has received criticism, because How do you have a fighter who self-admittedly says they don't deserve a fighter because of their performance was flat or, subpar? It wasn't a championship performance against an unknown person. Like, we would give you credit if it was against a top contender, a top guy we known. This was literally someone that nobody in the real boxing world knew. And he admits that he don't deserve off of that performance to win the Canelo sweepstakes, right? And Canelo says, and his team says, yes, you do. You do deserve me off of that performance. So Canelo's going to find himself in similar positions as long as he chooses people. And he was like doomed from the start because Caleb Smith, the other guy he was looking at, also had that, And it's really sad to me that we live in America and these companies continue to have an American Olympian or American fighters like Charlo, American Olympian like Demetrius Andrade. And when it comes to Canelo, there's a ton of excuses why he doesn't fight them, Andrade said he would move up to 68 for Billy Joe Saunders. Maybe he would move up to 68 to fight Canelo. But they don't even entertain it. They act like, even though Andrade is a part of the DAZN Corporation, DAZN Group, and he fights on the same network as Canelo, they don't even look into it. Like, hey, maybe we could do it at catchweight at 164, whatever. And I know some people are going to say, oh, but Billy Joe Saunders has a belt at 168. Cut the BS. Billy Joe Saunders. See, boxing, they try to fool you. Canelo, this is the thing. They're trying to say Canelo is a 4-division champ and he's fighting champions, but we know there's the alphabet belts in boxing. There are far too many guys that have belts because there's more belts available. And you have to always trace the belt back. Like, a lot of people say, oh, Joshua, look at how many belts he has. But who did he beat for the belts? You always got to look at the origin because that means something. Joshua fought an unproven Charles Martin, even though he was a champion, who got a belt from a vacancy. Tyson Fury did the heavy lifting by beating Klitschko. Had Tyson Fury not been wrongfully stripped of the IBF belt, then, Charles Martin would have never even been up for the vacant belt. So that's just politics. Tyson Fury did the heavy lifting by fighting the formidable Klitschko and beating him when no one else had beaten him, including guys like Chris Arreola and David Haye and Povetkin and Kubrat Pulev. None of these guys could beat Klitschko for the past basically decade. So you got to look at it. You got to trace the origins. So getting back to the subject of Billy Joe Saunders, look at the origins. How did he get the belt? He got the belt. You got to know your boxing. He got the belt because Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, a big guy, moved up to 175 where he was a champion. So the whole time, just peep this. Canelo's a Mexican fighter. Zurdo Ramirez is a Mexican fighter, both from parts of Mexico, right? That would have been a fun fight on a Mexican-American Hispanic holiday. But the whole time, Zurdo Ramirez had the WBO belt, and he's called for the Canelo fight. And his promoter, I have the tweet, Bob Arum, had called and said, hey, we'll fight Canelo. We'll fight Golovkin. They wanted fights like that. But he didn't get those types of fights and those types of looks. So he ended up giving his body a rest and moving up to 175, where I think he's going through some legal issue with maybe Top Rank. But beside the point is, when he had the belt, how come Canelo didn't fight him for the belt? He was at least more proven. He had beaten Arthur Abram, and things like that. And he had several title defenses, and it's just a good fight because we're talking about a festive Hispanic Mexican-American holiday, right? He leaves, the belt becomes open, vacant. Billy Joe Saunders had just failed a drug test, and he was ordered to rematch. They said, hey, you failed a drug test, but we're going to give the WBO said, we're going to, as soon as he served his ban, they said, we're going to give you an opportunity to fight Andrade and try to get your belt back because you lost it by the failed drug test, and we're going to give you a second chance at it and rank you. Billy Joe Saunders did not fight Andrade when he was cleared to fight. And instead, he moved up to 168 to fight an unknown he fat, she thick, some dude is Sushi, Suzufi, and he fought him for a vacant belt. So yeah, Billy Joe Saunders is a champion, but he hasn't fought anyone at 168 his damn self. You know, he hasn't fought, and when I say nobody, he hasn't fought anybody of merit. He hasn't fought David Benavidez. He hasn't fought Caleb Plant. He didn't fight Jose Uzcategui when he was a champion. He didn't fight James DeGale or Badu Jack when they were there. He didn't fight Andre Ward when he was there, you know? So he didn't fight a notable name. You know, he didn't fight Carl Froch or a notable name that is, you know, stomped through the 168-pound super middleweight division. That's what I mean. So Canelo's continuing to kind of create this fake legacy and this imagery about, oh, I'm beating all these champions, but in actuality, real boxing fans know you're skirting around the actual formidable threats who are more accomplished and picking and choosing, and on top of that, oftentimes choosing weight stipulations and picking people off of bad performances. You know, and I know a lot of the Canelo man fans get hate when they hate when I say this, but it's all fact. They want to constantly somehow put Canelo's name in the same conversation as Mayweather, but to be in the same conversation as Mayweather, you got to do Mayweather things, and what Mayweather did, Canelo hasn't done that. He hasn't generated the money, he hasn't generated the interest. He doesn't even have fun build-ups for his fights. His fights themselves are fun. So, you know, no one's really being fooled. If Canelo beats Billy Joe Saunders, he beat another guy who was unproven at that weight. Billy Joe Saunders' proven weight is 160. That is the division where he fought and beat David Lemieux, fought and beat guys like Andy Lee, who just trained Tyson Fury, right? So he hasn't done anything at 168 of any type of consequence. So Canelo actually has a better win in Kovalev at 175 than Billy Joe Saunders has at his own division. So Canelo has showed he could fight, and apparently, even though the fight looked FAF to me, apparently knock out bigger guys that are 175. So, you know, pardon me for not being thrilled with this particular fight. And DAZN, they don't know enough about boxing to see this. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what type of interest that this generates for Vegas, because I think the boxing dynamic and changes have come, and no longer can you just fight whoever you want and continue to do the same thing and not listen to the fans and expect great positive results. When great fights come together, that's when you usually receive the best traction, the best promotion, and the best response from the fans. And again, Canelo fighting Rocky Fielding and fighting Billy Joe Saunders, what does that really mean? David Benavidez is looking like a monster at 168. Caleb Plant is looking like a monster at 168. And this is why Golden Boy threw out that Caleb Plant, he's in the middle of fighting somebody else on his fight week, and they're claiming that they offered Caleb Plant. This is the DAZN strategy. What DAZN promoters have been doing is, let's utilize somebody else's name and brand and what they've worked for and throw them in the mix, like Charlo, Caleb Plant, Andy Ruiz, Wilder. So when we make fights that are less than what people expect or want, we have a scapegoat. Like, hey, we tried to fight the best at 168. We tried to fight Caleb Plant, but he said no. Like, come on, bro. You're trying to get people on a quick turnaround. I mean, the game is very easy to see that Canelo and his team are running. So good luck to the fight. That's my thoughts. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. How, on a scale of 0 to 10, how excited are you for Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders? But again, Canelo keeps like fighting people not in their best division, off bad performances. Then we'll see. We'll see what happens to his star power. But Billy Joe Saunders, like I said, if you disagree, which I know you can't because you don't know more boxing, then tell me Billy Joe Saunders' greatest win at 168, where he fought somebody at 168. If you allegedly disagree with what I'm saying, tell me who he fought at 168 that impressed you, both performance-wise and the name of the person in which he defeated. Yes, he's undefeated. Yes, he's a two-division champion. But again, there's a lot of belts. Rocky Fielding was a champion, but we know Rocky Fielding, if you put him in there with Zurdo Ramirez when he was at 68, if you put Rocky Fielding with Caleb Plant, if you would have put Rocky Fielding in with David Benavidez would chop the man head off. And we know that. So this doesn't really prove much. And like I said, it's just sad what they're doing to Andrade. Bigger American fights in Vegas. Imagine Charlo. But once again, Canelo fans, they're gonna say whatever, the man fans at least, and act like this is a great fight. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what the turnout is and all that. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.